Oh, the Lord. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. We are Fridays. Wow, this week went by super quickly. I am amazed how fast it just blew. Ooh. So, Halloween is just around the corner. At this speed, we'll be there in no time whatsoever. So, in honor of Halloween, let's get into some very scary movies. I don't know if they're really that scary. Nonetheless, this is Rotten Tomatoes Top 200. And strangely enough, Rotten Tomatoes has kind of been disconnected from its audience in the past almost 10 years now. So I don't know how reliable we can base ourselves on it, but out of the 200, let's just say that even me, who's not a horror connoisseur, I mean, a lot of these movies on this list was from even before my generation, so it kind of covers different periods in time. So, without further ado, let's start off where we left off yesterday, which was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I covered in the last one. So we will go on with number 100, The Conjuring, that came out in 2013. Now, for the most part, I have not seen horror movies in the past 10 years, but guess what? I did see this one. Yes. And dare you that much? But I did find the overall theme in this one to be quite pleasing. And it was kind of made like an old-fashioned horror movie. Now, having said that, it's already 10 years old, so for a lot of you viewers out there, thank you for tuning in, by the way. This might also already be something that's, from a previous generation. Now, having said that, I enjoyed the movie. It wasn't over the top like so many horror movies. It had how can I say, a kind of somewhat realistic story until it starts not being so much. But you kind of get into the story, kind of getting into what's going on, and then abnormal things start happening, which I kind of enjoyed. Like I said, I enjoyed this movie. It wasn't super great, but I definitely would recommend this one if you had nothing to do on Halloween. But it would not be in the top five, obviously. But during the week leading up to Halloween, definitely have a look at this one. It ain't that bad. On to number 99, Misery. Now, this came out a while ago, 1990, and yet I can remember this almost like yesterday. I do remember that it got like nominated for several Oscars, if I'm not mistaken. I know everybody was talking about this movie back in the day. My family members, when we were getting together at the holidays, everybody was talking about this movie. And it's again based on Stephen King's work, who's a novelist and writes books for people that don't know him. And I remember Kathy Bates being nominated. It was really, really, really a horror story. A bad situation getting blown out of proportion, getting out of control, over the top. Some people are really psycho out there, and this was a good example of that. A misfortune happens to somebody and somebody takes care of him, but that somebody doesn't want that somebody to get better. Yeah, not an ideal situation. A lot of people used to talk about it in the day. I myself did not see it. I saw so many previews, so many trailers, so many everything that I felt like I've already seen the best parts of the movie without even seeing it. That's how it was back in the day. You had so many commercials, so many everything. They were trying to brainwash you to the point where I just didn't feel like watching it. And still to this day have not watched it. And yet I really like Stephen King. I like a lot of his movies. But this one, I skipped it. But it is a really good movie. Everybody that saw it liked it, found it scary, chilling, and all of this stuff. So, this definitely another one of those movies that you want to watch during Halloween week. Okay, on to number 98. Now, this is way before my time, 1960. Village of the Dam. So, I heard about this. It was a classic growing up. I've never seen it, but given that so many people talk about it still to this day, a lot of people refer to this as one of the classics. Uh, if you are a horror buff person, I guess you've seen this, and maybe you can comment further about how good it is and what it brings that other movies back in the day did not. So, moving on to number 97, Color Out of Space. 2019, so this is a fairly recent movie. After a meteorite lands in front yard of their farm, they find themselves battling something. I don't know. I don't know. Still don't know. Maybe some of you viewers have seen it and can comment further down below. Let Me In at number 96, a movie from 2010. Now, I don't know what this is about, but apparently it's something of a teenager that's, plotting revenge or something. Man, teens need to learn to chill about stuff, everything. And I don't know where teenagers are going, but I see a lot of TikToks and stuff, and these are really horrors to people. Anyways, I don't want to get into politics, but it is what it is. Okay. At number 95, Halloween from 2018. Now, it's not a remake, it's a sequel, and I don't know how Jamie Lee Curtis does it. She's been in this series of movies for over 40 years, 45 years. it's just amazing how Jamie Lee Curtis can do all of this still. But Halloween has always been a classic, staple classic. And Michael Myers has always been also like a staple just as much as Jason and Freddy. These were the top three going through my youth that everybody from my generation always referred themselves to. So I don't know how good this movie was, but it's already better than a lot of the other ones on this movie on this list, 200. So I'm guessing it's fairly good for a sequel. So you'll have to let me once more, you'll have to let me know in the comments down below if it's any good and how much you liked it. At number 94. Now, I've mentioned him a couple of times. He was a staple growing up. Like every time you would have anything horror related, or Saturday special, or anything like that, or Friday night special, Vincent Price was not only a great actor, a great voice actor, he would also do so many intros to specials that it I really miss him. Really miss people like him. We don't have very many voice actors now that has his kind of presence. It's a I know he was obviously from the theater, but he brought something and I kind of really miss that little something extra that he brought every time. Theater of Blood. Unfortunately, I did not see this, or I don't remember seeing it. But apparently, something in the theater is scary. Okay, at number 93, Attack the Block. I have no idea what this is. 2011. Okay, so this is mostly a British something with teenagers. I never heard of it. Don't know what's about. At number 92, Eraserhead from 1977. Uh, again, it was a staple back in the day. I myself do not watch these kinds of movies, but my friends saw it. My friends got scared watching it. So, from my personal background, people that watched it were frightened, liked it, so it is on the recommend. But these movies are getting very old. I don't know how they would appeal to a younger audience. But if we could make like decent remakes, maybe they would be interesting to this generation. I just don't know if they would be interested in these themes. At number 91, The Devil's Backbone. Wow. Okay. So from 2001, I have no idea, not heard much about it, but it is from a favorite director, Guillermo del Toro, who is famous for doing so many other things. I mean, I guess it's one of his breakout movies and might be worth watching. Okay, at number 90, wow, Housebound from 2014. See, no clue whatsoever what this is about. Have not heard about it, nothing. Same as number 89, We Are Still Here from 2015. Look at these. Some of these classics were at 70 and 80, and they are staples. This one's at 95. How have I not heard anything about this movie when the critics have it at 95? I mean, this has to be winning an Oscar. This is what I'm saying, that during the past 10 years, I think Rotten Tomatoes have lost their way. You know, they have to say, hey, it's better than, movies from 35 years, 40 years ago. But how so? At number 88, a movie from 1970, The Bird with the Crystal Plumage. And this is at 85. And unfortunately, this is not a classic that I can comment on. If it was just The Birds, then I could, from Alfred Hitchcock. But this is not it. This is another movie, an oldie. I don't know why it's at number 88. It has a very high rating. 85 used to be very high. So, and I've never heard of this, unfortunately. Now, the next one, at number 87, The Phantom of the Opera. I think this is probably the oldest one in the list here. Came out in 1925. Wow. Yes. And see, this is an all-time classic, an all-time everything, and it barely makes 90% critics score. I mean, this is approaching 100 years old, folks. Not many people were there when this movie came out. Now, I've never seen this movie, although I probably saw a lot of it in clips and in flashbacks and all kinds of things. But on this topic, I will mention that there was a theater piece done, an opera if you want, and I did see the live theater performance of this. And the budget, I think it was what, probably 1990, 1991. I can't remember exactly, but around the 90s, this was going around worldwide. It was a mega production back in the day. And me, who is not necessarily into the operas or the theater, wow, I really liked it. I really had a fun time. I went there with my sister. It was one of our birthday gifts, and I just had a blast. Unfortunately, coming out of there, my car was no longer there. That's another story altogether. Ooh-wee, yeah. Crazy, crazy stuff. But I mean, if I enjoyed the theater piece so much, I mean, and then it's based on this, then it has to be, you know, worth watching. Although 1925, folks, expected to be a silent movie and in black and white. Definitely black and white, and definitely without any sound. I mean, this is after the First World War, before the Second, so yeah, this was an era that very few people remember. I wasn't there, but I've heard a lot of people talk about it. At number 86, now this is another cult classic, The Wolf Man, 1941. And I just remember growing up, there used to be this radio personality called the Wolfman, and he also had a very distinctive voice. It was really, really But Wolfman and Teen Wolf, and there's been so many Wolfman genres based upon this. This is at 91. I don't think that this is better than Phantom of the Opera, obviously. But this came out through a very intense time. 1941, folks. We were at war back then, the Second World War. I guess people needed something to distract them from what was going on. Today we would know them as lichens, but yeah, back in the day, a werewolf, wolfman. So it's obviously a cult classic. I don't know, but if those anything would be interesting to watch at this point, but in any case. Okay, at number 85, Dawn of the Dead from 1978. I heard about this, and how can I say? Uh, a lot of my friends saw this. I did not, but everybody found it very scary. Like when we were talking about in my generation, like the top three, Jason, Freddy, and Michael Myers, these were the three like most known horror genre movies, but they were also considered kind of comedies because it was a little bit over the top. Whereas movies like Dawn of the Dead, my friend said if you want to watch a scary movie, watch these. The other three are mostly comedies. They're very light. You can watch them, you can have a laugh, you can eat popcorn. Whereas Dawn of the Dead, you start eating popcorn and then you start getting scared and you might run out of popcorn because you're eating it because you're so much on your nerves and stuff. So, definitely on the list of horror movies. At number 84, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Now, this has been redone into cartoons, into this theme, this story, this franchise, this everything has been incorporated into so many other things. It's a staple, it's almost a saying, it's an expression. When somebody is like two-faced and has a hidden personality to him that's pretty off the edge, we were we would refer them as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. From 1931, folks, we are going way back, way, way back. Okay, at number 83. Now, this is a movie I saw. It was funny, so funny. I had a laugh. I don't know if you can really call this um, a horror movie. It's a kind of zombie movie, but I laughed throughout it so hard. I saw this in 2004. It is hilarious. Uh, I guess it spawned all the other genre movies. And I was really, really surprised because, like I said, this is usually not my cup of tea being in horror movies. But Shaun of the Dead was so funny, and I just had a lot of fun watching it with friends. Hey, the bowling fan, how are you doing today? Hope you're having a great Friday. Up until Halloween, I am going through some of the horror movies. A lot of these I don't know, and some of them from my younger youth and memories and stuff. I am just going through the list, giving people ideas and see how well they know these movies. Hello, Spooky. How are you today? It's Friday. The weekend is just around the corner. Now, if I like Kane Hodder, I don't know what that is. Is that the name of a movie? What year did it come out? Like a lot. There's like 200 movies here, and I barely don't know 150 of them easily. Any movie from, okay, I know Shaun of the Dead, but I could have easily not even known this one, except that so many friends said I had to watch it, and I watched it with friends. And in 2004, I actually saw this on VHS. He plays Jason, okay. Jason from Friday the 13th. Is that like in the original first three Jasons, or are we talking about Jason X, where we are already up to over 10 Jasons from Friday the 13th? I mean, at number 82, The Endless from 2017, it has a score of 92. I mean, when you get into the 90s, this should be winning Oscars, and I've never heard of this. I've never heard of nobody, nothing, none of this. At number 81, Don't Breathe from 2016. If I watch hockey, not as much as I used to. I used to really like hockey as a teen and as a kid. Then in, what was it? I think Montreal's last Stanley Cup was in 1992. And in 1993, the coach got into it with Patrick Roy, which was our top goalie back in the day. They got into a big argument. Patrick went off to the Avalanche, and then Colorado won the cup for the next 2 years. I was so mad that and this is from, okay, so this is like 30 years now. And I still keep hearing from the club that they are restructuring, rebuilding the team. So I've disconnected from hockey completely. So Don't Breathe at 26 from 2016. I have not heard of this. At number 80, which will be the last one for the day today, because I'm already going over my 30-minute show. The Reanimator from 1985. Now, this is during my youth, and it was kind of based on Frankenstein, but not as good. I mean, I saw Frankenstein as a kid. It's still probably one of my favorite horror movies. It's hard to beat a good Frankenstein. I'm not going with the Bride of Frankenstein and all those spin-offs. The original Frankenstein was so good. The Reanimator tried to reinvent the formula, but it it kind of was, yeah. It was a little bit flat for me. I don't know why it's getting an 94 score. I mean, anything above 85 should be, contention for an Oscar. I don't know how these movies are getting such high critic scores, but nonetheless, it is. It was a movie. I mean, some of my friends did like it because they would like anything horror. So if it didn't bore them, it was a good watch, and they kind of liked this one. I did not. I had such there's some movies that really scared me from this era. Some of them, this is not one that scared me one bit. I watched it with a very light-hearted. I did not get into this movie all that much. So we've gone through another 20 movies today. And that will be pretty much it for today. Unless people have other questions, now we can talk about other stuff other than horror movies. I've done the 20 that I wanted to do today. So, Trent, are you a hockey fan? If you're still watching? Because, yeah, we talked about that. I know it's kind of like Jason, because Jason wears a hockey mask. But even I mean, that hockey mask of Jason comes from the 70s. I really don't know how much it would protect you. Yes, you're Red Wings fans. Well, Detroit has really always had a really good team. I don't, like I said, I haven't followed hockey much. I don't follow much sports. Once in a while, I'll watch a UFC or I'll watch a wrestling match or I'll watch a boxing match. I'm not into sports as much as I used to. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, Montreal back in my youth would win Stanley Cups, and then you watch like basketball, and you had the Bulls and Michael Jordan, and really good players, good teamwork going on. And then all the sports changed, and everything went into how much the athletes are getting paid. And they were getting like $40 million contracts, $100 million contracts, $200 million contracts, and really, they weren't good. So I kind of got disconnected from sports when it all became about their salaries, which by the mid 1990s, that's all it was about, is how much these athletes are getting paid. Well, usually my daily questions and answers and just chatting go from anywhere between half an hour to an hour. So I finished the horror movies section that I wanted to get to today because that's the main subject. But sometimes I'll have discussions with my viewers about anything and everything. This is kind of like the time to do it. I mean, you look at the title, it's about horror movies, so I've done my horror movie part, and it's free for all. It's questions and answers about anything and everything. I mean, it's Friday. I don't take anything too seriously. It's the weekend. Let's just enjoy ourselves, have good discussions, good topics. There is a theme, but then we move on from it. Hey, kitty cat. My little cat wants to go out, but it's showers today. It's rain off and on. You like the Disney filter I had yesterday? Well, when I'm gaming, yeah. But these questions and answers are a little bit more serious tone. And people get to know me and the real me and stuff like that. Like I do want to do another piece on vaping versus tobacco, cigarettes, and all that. Because I used to be a smoker, now I vape, and people are like, "Well, you should not vape." Yeah, well, there's a world of difference between vaping and tobacco cigarettes, so. What are you doing, kitty cat? No, you behave. Don't go start knocking stuff off of the. You're just misbehaving because you want something, and you're gonna bother the bejesus out of me until he gets it. But there's a few other filters that I have, and going towards like Halloween week, I'll have my skull face going on and stuff like that, so. He's being a pain in the butt. He's like, it's been a half an hour, let me out now. Because I don't let them out. Because when I try to do these talk shows, all they do is they want to come in and out, in and out, in and out. The entire time that I'm on air, that's what they want to do. And as you can see, it's like he's been like, okay, 30 minutes are done. I want to go out now. And as soon as he's out, he'll want to come in. So, yeah, so on the, sports thing, hockey, I haven't watched much of it. Monies and about how much they're paying the players. And unfortunately, it's not about the team anymore. It's having your superstar on your team. And you don't see the teamwork you used to. So I guess the best hockey was from the 70s all the way into the 90s, mid 90s. They kind of lost the teamwork, and it's all about the superstar of the teams now. But Detroit has always been a solid team. I can't say the same about the Canadians. They really lost it. I even think that at some point Calgary had a better teamwork going on in the late 90s more than Montreal ever had. So, yeah. Oh, he's being such a pain in the butt. But he's also a gorgeous cat, and he's just lying down there and his tail is going. Not happy. He knows I'm talking about him. He's a big baby. And you've got lots of stuff stuck in your fur. That's the other thing. Love him. But when they go out, there's all kinds of bushes here with stuff that gets stuck in their fur, and I have to go around and clean it all. But okay, I guess I will be calling it an end here because I don't know if it's the chat that's frozen. Because sometimes the chat gets frozen. What kind of phone do I have? If you're asking me if I have an Apple versus a Android, I have an Android. I will not go into the makes or stuff because they don't pay me to talk about these things. But I never, I mean, I've known Apples ever since they made computers. And back when I was young, regular PCs had more games than Apple. Apple was for the artists and the workers and the office space, whereas regular PCs were, home entertainment and all of this stuff. And I never really got into Apple. Same, and have a good day. Well, okay then. You have yourself a good one. I'll be streaming all kinds of stuff and working on my videos. But it is Friday, so I am going to take it easy and Hopefully I can get some gaming in shortly. So have yourself a good day and a good week, and hopefully I will get to talk to you again soon. And to all my viewers, same to you. Have a great time, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-byes.